Hail Satan. Satan is God. What I meant to say was hail stones. God is Satan. I'll get back to the hailstones later, but when I say God is Satan, I mean the creator is Satan. And when I say the creator is Satan, what I'm referring to is Shemuel Bait, or 2 Samuel, chapter 24, verse 1, and it says, "Again the anger of Yahweh was kindled against Israel, and he moved David against them to say, Go number Israel and Yehuda." Because previously it told him not to take a census of them, to just trust Yahweh, and, excuse me, and not rely on numbers. And now he's getting David to go number Yisrael and Yehuda. And then in Debre Hayamim, or 1 Chronicles, chapter 21, verse 1, it says, "And Shatan stood up against Yisrael and provoked David to number Yisrael." So one place it says Yahweh has it going on, and the other place it says Shatan's the one that's doing it. So Yahweh is being a Shatan to David. Now, Shatan, what does that mean? It's a Hebrew word. What does it mean? Satan. It means adversary, or opponent, or enemy. So that's Shatan. Now, I know a lot of people use it as like a name, like a title, like you know, your name might be Mike or Joe or Bob or whatever, and they think that Satan is his name. No, it's just a title. It means adversary or enemy or opponent. In fact, I have it right. Yeah, the Shatan, Ha-Shatan. Ha is Hebrew for the. So thus Satan, the Satan or Shatan, means adversary, enemy, legal adversary, like a prosecuting attorney. Okay? So that is the Shatan. Now, from my understanding, the first place the Shatan shows up is in Eob or Job. And he's coming with the other messengers of Yahweh to present themselves before Yahweh. And Yahweh addresses the Shatan. He says, "Where have you been?" Now notice that Yahweh is the one in authority getting an answer from his subordinate, Shatan, the adversary. So Shatan answers him and he says, "I've been going back and forth through the earth. Just been going here and there, wandering around." And then Yahweh says, "Have you thought about my servant Eob or Job?" Yahweh is bringing Eob up to the Shatan. The Shatan's not the one that's instigating this. Yahweh is, the creator. The creator is bringing up Eob. If he just wanted to make sure that Eob wasn't going to have to go through stuff, why bring him up? But he brings him up to the adversary. And the adversary starts saying, he's not so great. He wouldn't, I mean, the conversation goes on, but he ends up saying, you know, if it came down to it, and you gave him grief, he'd deny you to your face. So Shatan is accusing Eob, but he's also, how do I want to say it? He's also concerned about Yahweh's reputation, about Yahweh being done right by. At least that's what I see in the text. So, yeah, I'm just going to... So Yahweh is actually being a Shatan. Yahweh is being an adversary to someone. Yahweh is being an opponent to someone. And I think a lot of times Yahweh is our opponent when we're doing what's contrary to him. Now, underlying that being opponent is love. because he loves all of us. So he's not your opponent in his depths, but he may act as an opponent sometimes in order to say, like when a parent and their child, if their child does something wrong, the parent acts as their opponent. If they spank them, discipline them, they're acting as an opponent. Why are they doing that? They're doing it out of love. That's the basis. Or at least it should be. So, when I found Shaitan, it means adversary or opponent. Devil. I found devil. Trying to remember how many times devil is in Scripture. I'm not positive. But the word devil comes from the Greek diabolos. I think devil is more of a transliteration than it is any kind of translation, because it sounds very much like diabolos. I haven't looked into devil, but basically it means a false accuser or a slanderer, somebody who slanders, somebody who speaks lies and crap about somebody else. So that's, when you see devil, that's what it actually is, a false accuser and a slanderer. And then the Hebrew for devil would be sair, and it means a goat or a goat idol. So it's having to do with a goat. Now they had goat idols. They had lots of idols for like things that are. Well, I'll just go into the next term. The next Hebrew term is elil, and it means something that's worthless, good for nothing, a god or being without power, something that's a worthless piece of trash god. That's elil, and that's the kind of idols that they would have, whether it was a goat idol or some other kind of idol. But Yue even talks about, you make these idols out of wood and stone. They don't speak. They don't move. They have no intelligence. Why do you worship these things? They're worthless. And a lot of these other idols, the mythology, Satan or the devil or Zeus or Allah or any of these other supposed deities, they're worthless. They have no power. They're non-entities. They don't exist. The Hebrew words that get translated demon are shadim and elil. And shadim only shows up twice. If I can find it. It shows up once in Tehillah 106 verse 37, Tehillah or Psalm chapter 106 verse 37, and it shows up in Deuteronomy, Devarim chapter 32 verse 17. And at both times it's referring to people sacrificing their children to these shadim. Shadim actually means teats, breasts, like teats on a goat. So it's goat teats, and that's where it comes from. Goat idols. That's what these things are. They're goat idols. So just like with devil, how it in the Hebrew it's actually talking about a goat or goat idol. Same thing with the demon, the Hebrew demon. Now, demon in the Greek is daimon or daimonion, and that, again, that's not really translated. That's more somewhat transliterated. But it means like a fortune giver or fortune dispenser. That's what the word actually means. It comes from, let me see. It comes from dio, which means to distribute fortunes. So it's some entity that they've thought distributed fortunes. But these daimons, or fortune distributors, don't actually distribute fortunes. The only one who gives what people think of as fortune, what's going to happen to you, the only one who decides that is the Creator. He's the only one. So as far as Shaitan, the adversary, or demons, either shadim, goat teats, or elil, worthless, good-for-nothing gods, or Greek daimons, fortune givers or fortune dispensers, even though they don't actually do that. These are all entities that are low. They're below us, and they don't really have a whole lot of worth. All they are is servants of the Almighty to do His will, to do what He chooses for them to do. They're tools. Shaitan is a tool of the Almighty. What are thought of as demons or devils, they're tools of the Almighty. That's all they are. So, and if what was I going to say? Oh, I was going to go back to hailstones. Hailstones. When Yahweh was being a shaitan, when the Creator was being a shaitan to Pharaoh and sending, the 10 plagues in Egypt, sending these plagues, sending frogs. Every one of the plagues that were sent to Egypt were in the image of one of the Egyptian gods. And they were plaguing the Egyptians because Yahweh was showing them these are not deities. These are not things to worship. And because you're choosing to worship these things and you're choosing to oppress people that I've chosen for myself to accomplish something that I have for them to accomplish, I'm going to send these plagues on you to show you how worthless these idols are. And that's one of the things that He sent. While He was being their adversary, He sent hailstones. So hailstones. Yeah, these devils, demons, shaitan, they're low. They're below us. And they may be something that you may feel like is attacking you. They may be like the forces. I think they're the forces that Yahweh has orchestrating all of the misery and difficulty in the world. And horrible, horrible things. Torture, rape, all these horrible things. I think they're behind it. I think they're the instruments that Yahweh uses to have these things happen. But they're not Yahweh's enemy. They're our enemy. But they're only our enemy insofar as we're violating Yahweh and His love and His Torah. Because Torah is all about, there's two major rules in Torah that Torah is all about. The first rule, the first and most important rule, love the Creator with everything you are and everything you've got. Every last bit of it. And the second rule, which is like the first, is love each other as you love yourself. Love each other just like you want good to be done to yourself, and you want respect for yourself, and you want good for yourself. That's how you're supposed to love other people. Treat other people right. Care for other people. Try to be beneficial for other people. That's what the Torah is all about. All of the instructions in Torah are all about those two. So, our adversary, our main adversary, is being contrary to Torah, being contrary to love, being contrary to goodness. That's our enemy. That's really our enemy. I don't really pay attention that much at all to Shaitan, the spirit being, spirit entity, whatever it is. I don't really pay that much attention to him because, to me, if you are intimately familiar with the truth and with goodness and with love, it's very easy to spot the counterfeit. It's very easy to spot what's not. And when you are walking in that truth and walking in that love, Yahweh is close to you, and Yahweh will fight for you. Fight against your enemies. Whatever your enemies may be, Yahweh will fight for you and provide for you and give you what you need. So hailstones. God is Shaitan sometimes to some people. when they need it, if they need discipline. But ultimately, it's because he loves them. Like he loves all of us. So his ultimate motivation for all of us is love. Um, I was gonna mention Lilith, who people call Lilith. Lilith is mentioned once in Scripture, and it means a night creature, and it's probably referring to like maybe a screech owl or some other kind of like night creature that may sound kind of scary or be kind of eerie or whatever, but really it's just like a night animal. That's Lilith. Lilith. That's what it is. Beelzebul. Beelzebul literally means Lord of the Flies, Master of the Flies. I have a note on flies, on Beelzebul and his reigning over the flies. Since flies do not acknowledge authority, this name is an empty title, Beelzebul, and a good look at the behavior of flies may yield some insights. In the workings of evil, Yahweh's empire is like that of bees. The Hebrew word for bee, Deborah, is the feminine version of the masculine debar, which means word or thought, speech. Logos in Greek. It's an ordered arrangement of thoughts and sounds. Bees have a house. They like flowers. They make honey. They speak a language. They care for their offspring, and they're armed. Shaitan's empire is like flies. Flies are homeless. They like dung and decaying flesh. They make nothing. They speak no language. They don't care for their offspring, and they are not armed. So you see the productiveness and goodness and beneficialness of Yue's empire. And you see the worthlessness and the patheticness of Shaitan's empire, his flies. And that's his Shaitan's job, is to be worthless and be an adversary to us. Now I know there's Nahash, what people call the serpent, like in the Garden of Eden, Gan Eden, which it means pleasure garden. But the Nahash can mean serpent, and it can also mean shining one. So that was probably the Shaitan, but I'm not positive. But not really concerned about it. But anyways, I hope that is helpful. Feel free to leave any kind of feedback, comments. Yue may sometimes be a Shaitan to you, but only when you need it, and his ultimate motivator is love. And Shaitan and any devil, which is actually a false accuser, and any demon, which is actually what people think of as a fortune giver, but really is not. It's really an allele, which means it's a worthless, good-for-nothing being, worthless, good-for-nothing God. Both of those are tools in the hand of the Creator to serve Him and ultimately to serve you. And the last thing I wanted to say, I already mentioned this before, but with everything that I see going on in the world around me, and going on in my own life, and all the terribleness and atrocities and troubles that go on in the world, we may have whatever difficulty we may have at whatever point in time, but ultimately it is all in the hands of the Creator. And He loves you, and He knows what He's doing, and whatever you have to go through, whatever I have to go through, it is not going to last. We all have to die at some point, and we all have to endure pain of some kind at some point, some people more than others. but none of it is going to last, not even death. And He is going to bring us all to life again and has good in store for every single one of us because He loves every single one of us. So wherever you're at and whatever you have to go through, that's the reality, that the Creator loves you and He has good in store for you. Thank you very much for watching. Yeah, I think that's it. So thank you, and feel free to leave comments or feedback or whatever, and have a very good life. Shalom, au revoir, do svidania, adios, slan, arrivederci, ni hao, auf Wiedersehen, farewell.